The holographic display flickered as Commander Elena Reyes studied the tactical readout. The EDF Thunderchild hummed beneath her feet, its fusion engines barely audible through the advanced dampening systems. Humanity had come a long way since the climate wars of the early 22nd century. "Status report," she ordered, her voice carrying the weight of 15 years in Earth's defense forces. Lieutenant Kowalski looked up from his station. "All systems nominal, Commander. We're maintaining position at Jupiter's L4 point as ordered." Elena nodded, trying to ignore the frustration building inside her. The Thunderchild, humanity's most advanced destroyer, relegated to patrol duty while the rest of the EDC fleet conducted exercises near Mars. She understood the reasoning. As the newest ship in the fleet, they were still working out the bugs in some systems, but that didn't make babysitting Jupiter any less tedious. "Commander," called out Ensign Park from the communications array, "we're picking up something strange at the heliopause." Elena moved to Park's station, studying the readings. "Define strange, Ensign." "Gravitational anomalies, ma'am. Massive ones." Park's fingers danced across the interface. "And they're moving inward, toward the inner system." Before Elena could respond, the ship's AI activated. "Commander, I am detecting multiple objects decelerating from FTL at the edge of the solar system. Configuration unknown. No match in EDC databases." The bridge fell silent. First contact. After decades of searching the stars, hoping and fearing in equal measure, humanity was no longer alone. "Sound General Quarters," Elena ordered, her training taking over. "And get me a direct line to EDC command." The next 12 hours became a blur of activity. The objects, massive ships by all sensor readings, continued their steady approach toward Earth. The EDC mobilized its entire fleet, a modest 50 vessels spread thin across the system. When the aliens finally broadcast their message, it came simultaneously to every communication device in the solar system. "We are the Vraxian Collective. Your resources have been claimed. Surrender or face eradication. You have 24 Earth hours to comply." The message was accompanied by detailed scans of the alien armada, over 200 warships, each dwarfing humanity's largest vessels. Their hulls gleamed with an iridescent material unknown to Earth science, and energy readings suggested weapons capabilities far beyond anything humans had developed. In the emergency council meeting that followed, Admiral Santos was blunt. "We can't match them ship for ship. If they attack en masse, our current defenses won't hold." Elena studied the holographic projections of the alien vessels. Something about their configuration nagged at her military instincts. "Permission to take the Thunderchild on a closer reconnaissance, Admiral." "Denied, Commander. All ships are to maintain defensive positions around Earth and the colonies." Elena's jaw tightened. "With respect, sir, we need better intelligence. The Thunderchild has the most advanced stealth systems in the fleet. We cold." "I said denied, Commander. That's an order." Later, alone in her quarters, Elena made the decision that would change humanity's future. "Navigation," she addressed the ship's eye. "Plot me a course that will bring us within sensor range of the Vraxian fleet while minimizing our detection profile." "Commander, this contradicts standing orders from EDC Command." Elena looked at the image of her crew, good people who trusted her judgment. Sometimes survival requires disobedience. "Execute the course. If we're going to have any chance against those ships, we need to know what we're facing." As the Thunderchild slipped away from its patrol route, Elena had no way of knowing she was about to discover humanity's one chance at survival. The Thunderchild slipped back into Earth orbit under cover of a maintenance satellite cluster. Elena had pushed the stealth systems beyond their rated capacity, but the gamble had paid off. They'd observed the Vraxian ships up close for nearly 6 hours without detection. "Lock down the bridge," Elena ordered as soon as they were secure. "All sensor data is classified level 5. When Admiral Santos' face appeared on the main display, his expression was thunderous. "Commander Reyes, you are hereby relieved of "Sir, with respect, you need to see what we found," Elena interrupted, transmitting the encrypted data packet. "The Vraxians have a critical weakness." 30 minutes later, Elena stood before the hastily assembled EDC War Council, her uniform still rumpled from the mission. Beside her, Dr. Aiden Chen fidgeted with his tablet, the dark circles under his eyes testament to the all-night analysis session. "The Vraxian ships are technological marvels," Elena explained, projecting the scans. "Their energy generation capacity exceeds ours by a factor of 20. Their FTL drive technology is generations beyond our prototypes." "You disobeyed direct orders to tell us we're outmatched," General Okafor scowled. "No," Elena countered, nodding to Chen. "I disobeyed orders to tell you we can win." Dr. Chen cleared his throat, avoiding Elena's eyes in a way that reminded her painfully of their abrupt separation 3 years earlier. "The Vraxian defensive systems are entirely built around energy dispersion fields," he explained. "Incredibly sophisticated. They can absorb or redirect almost any directed energy weapon we could deploy." "But," Admiral Santos prompted, "but they have virtually no protection against kinetic impacts," Chen continued, warming to his subject. "No point defense systems, minimal hull armor. They've evolved their technology along a completely different branch than we have." Elena stepped forward. "Earth abandoned directed energy weapons a century ago because of atmospheric interference problems. We advanced our kinetic and nuclear technologies instead, approaches the Vraxians seem to have abandoned millennia ago." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. "Their shields are calibrated for energy weapons," Chen said, projecting a simulation. "But a tungsten rod accelerated by our magnetic railguns, it would pass through their defenses like they weren't even there. And our electronic warfare capabilities," Elena added. "From what we observed, their systems have minimal hardening against electromagnetic pulse effects. They're vulnerable to tactics we perfected during the lunar conflicts." Admiral Santos leaned forward. "You're saying our primitive warships might actually be effective against them?" "More than effective," Chen replied. "With the right modifications, they won't know what hit them." As the council erupted into rapid tactical discussion, Elena felt Chen's presence beside her, so familiar yet distant. When he finally looked at her, his expression was complex. "This doesn't change anything between us," he said quietly. Elena kept her face neutral despite the ache in her chest. "Right now, nothing matters except stopping the Vraxians." Later, as the EDC rushed to retrofit their fleet with Chen's modifications, Elena stood alone in the Thunderchild's observation deck. The flashbacks had started again. Nightmarish fragments from the lunar conflicts, bodies floating in vacuum, stations breaking apart. "Not this time," she whispered to herself, watching Earth glow blue beneath her. This time, humanity had a fighting chance. This time, she wouldn't fail. Mars' colony hung like a red jewel against the blackness of space, its terraforming domes glinting in the distant sunlight. Elena watched through the Thunderchild's forward viewport as the settlement grew larger. They'd arrived just in time. "Vraxian Battle Group inbound," Lieutenant Kowalski announced. 5 cruiser-class vessels, ETA 3 minutes. Elena nodded, her expression betraying nothing of the storm inside her. "Status on the EDF Valiant and Defiant." "In position on our flanks, Commander. All ships report weapon modifications complete." "Good." Elena took her command chair. "All hands, prepare for combat engagement. This is not a drill." The Vraxian ships emerged from their FTL corridor in perfect formation. Sleek, predatory vessels with hulls that shimmered with iridescent energy fields. Their design spoke of technological superiority, of civilizations that had mastered the stars while humans were still learning to make fire. Their broadcasting, Ensign Park reported. Same message as before: surrender or face eradication. Elena's lips curled into a tight smile. "Let's show them our answer." Tactical, target the lead vessel with primary railguns. Load tungsten penetrators. The Thunderchild's newly modified weapons hummed to life. Dr. Chen had worked miracles in the past 72 hours, increasing the magnetic acceleration to velocities that would have been considered theoretical just days ago. Firing solution locked, Tactical reported. Elena took a deep breath. Fire. The ship shuddered as the massive railguns discharged. On the tactical display, Elena watched as 3 hypervelocity tungsten rods streaked toward the lead Vraxian cruiser at nearly 0.1 C. The alien vessel made no attempt to evade. Why would it? Its energy shields had likely never failed against any weapon it had encountered in centuries of space warfare. The rods struck simultaneously. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the Vraxian shields flickered and collapsed, the kinetic energy transferring directly to the hull. The alien cruiser broke apart in a spectacular, silent explosion. Direct hit. Someone shouted, as the bridge erupted in cheers. Maintain discipline, Elena commanded, though she couldn't quite keep the satisfaction from her voice. Target the second vessel, and prepare EMP warheads. The remaining Vraxian ships scattered, clearly stunned by the destruction of their lead vessel. The Valiant and Defiant moved to intercept, their own railguns firing. A second alien ship fractured under the assault. They're attempting to adapt their shields. Chen's voice came through from the engineering section. Energy patterns are shifting. Elena nodded. Deploy the EMPs now, before they figure it out. 3 missiles launched from the Thunderchild, detonating in proximity to the remaining Vraxian vessels. The electromagnetic pulse washed over the alien ships, and their systems flickered and died. Powerless, they drifted in space. All Vraxian vessels disabled or destroyed. Kowalski reported, disbelief in his voice. No casualties on our side. Minor damage to the Defiance port stabilizers. A stunned silence fell over the bridge. They had done it. Humanity's first space battle against an alien aggressor, and they had won decisively. But Elena felt no triumph as she studied the tactical display. They'll adapt, she said quietly. And next time, they'll come in greater numbers. Later, reviewing the communication logs captured from the disabled Vraxian vessels, Chen made a disturbing discovery. Elena, he said, his face pale on the screen. According to these transmissions, they've encountered humans before. And there's something about us they fear. Something beyond our weapons. They've adapted faster than we anticipated. Admiral Santos admitted, his holographic image flickering slightly in the Thunderchild's briefing room. The second wave of Vraxian ships has modified shield harmonics. Our kinetic weapons are only about 40% as effective now. Elena studied the tactical data from the most recent skirmishes. In just 2 weeks, the Vraxians had reconfigured their defenses to partially counter Earth's advantage. 3 EDC vessels had been lost in the last engagement. We need more intelligence, she said, looking around the table at her senior officers. We need to understand what they know about us that we don't. Dr. Chen nodded, his fingers tapping nervously on his tablet. I've analyzed all the communication fragments we've captured. They keep referring to humans as something called Category 7 entities. It seems to be some kind of classification system, but the context is missing. Elena made her decision. We need to get aboard one of their command ships. The room fell silent. Admiral Santos frowned. That's borderline suicide, Commander. It's our best option, Elena countered. We've confirmed their internal atmospherics are compatible with our physiology. The Thunderchild's stealth shuttle can approach under cover of the debris field from our last engagement. A small team could infiltrate and access their central database. 12 hours later, Elena led a 5-person team through the silent corridors of the Vraxian command vessel Dominant Tide. Their adaptive camouflage suits helped them blend with the iridescent walls, and so far, they'd encountered minimal resistance. This way, Dr. Chen whispered, following the signal on his scanner. Their main data core should be 2 levels down. Elena nodded, pushing away memories of similar corridors on the lunar station just before it decompressed. Focus on the now, she reminded herself. They reached the data center without incident, almost too easily. As Chen worked to bypass the alien security systems, Alina felt a growing unease. "Something's wrong," she muttered. "This is too." The doorway behind them sealed shut. A low humming filled the chamber as concealed emitters activated. "It's a trap," Alina shouted, drawing her sidearm. "Chen, how much longer?" "Almost there," he replied, fingers flying across the alien interface he'd reprogrammed. "Just a few more." "Got it. Downloading now." The first section of the wall dissolved, revealing Vraxian soldiers. They were taller than humans, with segmented exoskeletons and compound eyes that reflected the room in fractured patterns. "Protect Chen," Alina ordered, opening fire. The rest of the team formed a defensive perimeter as Chen continued the download. The ensuing firefight was brief but intense. Two of Alina's team went down before the Vraxians retreated behind energy barriers. "It's done," Chen announced, disconnecting his device. "But they've locked down all exits. We need another way out." Alina checked her tactical display. "There's a shuttle bay 1 level up, if we can." The doors at the far end of the room hissed open. A different type of Vraxian entered, larger, adorned with metallic implants that pulsed with light. "The humans will be contained," it announced in perfect English. "The Deathworlders cannot be allowed to spread." Deathworlders. Alina frowned, but there was no time to process the term. "Fall back," she ordered. The retreat became chaotic. They fought their way toward the shuttle bay, but Vraxian forces seemed to anticipate their every move. As they reached the final corridor, Chen was hit by enemy fire. "Go," he shouted to Alina as he fell. "The data. They have to know." Alina hesitated only a moment before making the hardest decision of her career. She grabbed Chen's data device and ran for the shuttle, leaving him behind. As the stolen Vraxian shuttle broke away from the command ship, Alina reviewed the partial data they'd recovered. What she saw changed everything she thought she knew about humanity's place in the galaxy. "Deathworlders," Alina repeated, the alien term heavy on her tongue as she addressed the EDC War Council. "According to the data we recovered, that's how the Vraxians classify us." The holographic display showed comparative planetary data, Earth alongside various alien homeworlds. The differences were stark and unmistakable. "Our gravity is 1.3 to 2.6 times stronger than most spacefaring civilizations' homeworlds," she continued. "Our atmospheric pressure, radiation levels, temperature variations, all far more extreme than the galactic average." Admiral Santos frowned. "Are you saying they're afraid of us because our planet is harsh?" "Not just harsh, sir. Lethal." Alina highlighted specific sections of the translated data. "Most species evolved in significantly more stable, forgiving environments. They consider Earth a death world, a planet that should be impossible for intelligent life to evolve on due to its extreme conditions and abundant natural hazards." General O'Cuffer leaned forward. "And this gives us an advantage beyond our weapons." "Potentially decisive." Alina's expression hardened. Vraxian crews require constant environmental controls. Even minor variations in gravity, temperature, or radiation cause them severe physiological distress. But human bodies. She paused, the plan forming as she spoke. "We evolved to withstand incredible variations. We can function in environments that would kill them instantly." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Finally, Admiral Santos spoke. "What are you proposing, Commander?" "A new class of warships," Alina said firmly. "Vessels designed to leverage our biological resilience rather than just our weapons technology. Ships that can operate in extreme environments where Vraxian vessels can't follow, inside radiation belts, near gas giants, in high-gravity wells." "The resource requirements," one of the logistics officers began, "are irrelevant if we're extinct," Alina cut in. "And Dr. Chen is still their prisoner. The data suggests they're likely conducting biological experiments on him and other captured humans." The mention of Chen sent a sharp pain through her chest. She'd left him behind, a decision that haunted her every night. 3 weeks later, Elena stood in the observation bay of the orbital shipyard, watching as the first Deathworld-class destroyer took shape. Its hull was thicker, designed to withstand radiation levels that would cook most alien species. The internal gravity systems could operate at variable levels up to 3G without affecting ship functions. Temperature control systems were minimal. The crew would adapt instead. Lieutenant Kowalski joined her at the viewport. The engineering teams are calling it primitive luxury compared to Vraxian standards. Elena nodded. Primitive to them, perfectly comfortable for us. That's our edge. And the rescue mission for Dr. Chen. Elena's jaw tightened. The first Deathworld destroyer will be operational in 72 hours. We launch immediately after. The mission planning consumed every waking moment. Intelligence had located the Vraxian research facility where human prisoners were being held. Elena studied the schematics, planning an approach through Jupiter's radiation belt, a path no Vraxian ship would dare follow. When she finally slept, her dreams were filled with Chen's face, twisted in pain as alien devices probed and examined him. What were they looking for? What made humans so frightening to a species that had mastered interstellar travel? On the day of launch, Elena addressed the volunteer crew of the newly christened EDF Indomitable. The Vraxians think they understand what makes us dangerous, she told them. They've studied our weapons, adapted to our technology, but they've overlooked something fundamental. We don't just build dangerous ships. We are dangerous. Not because we want to be, but because we had to be to survive Earth. Today, we show them exactly what Deathworlders are capable of. Jupiter's radiation belt thrummed against the Indomitable's hull, bathing the ship in deadly energies that would have killed any Vraxian crew in minutes. Inside, the human crew functioned with only minor discomfort, protected by the ship's reinforced hull and their own remarkable biology. Radiation levels at 350 rems and climbing, reported the science officer. Still within human tolerance with meds, but just barely. Elena nodded, feeling the slight nausea that came with radiation exposure. The anti-radiation drugs circulating in her bloodstream would keep the crew functional for another 12 hours, more than enough time. Any sign of pursuit? She asked. Lieutenant Kowalski shook his head. Nothing. The Vraxian patrol broke off when we entered the belt, just as predicted. Good. Elena studied the tactical display, showing the other 4 Deathworld vessels in their battle group, each taking advantage of environmental conditions no alien ship would willingly enter. The EDF Relentless skimmed through Saturn's upper atmosphere, using the turbulent gases as cover. The Intrepid maintained position in a high-gravity well that would crush Vraxian life support systems. The Defiant and Valiant, retrofitted with Deathworld modifications, executed maneuvers under 2.5 G acceleration that would render any Vraxian crew unconscious. Commence Phase 1, Elena ordered. All ships begin simultaneous attacks on designated targets. Across the Jovian system, Earth's vessels erupted from their environmental hiding places, striking Vraxian outposts with overwhelming surprise. Railguns fired specialized ammunition designed to penetrate the aliens' modified shields. EMP weapons disabled their electronics before they could adapt. Phase 1 complete, Kowalski reported after 30 minutes of coordinated strikes. 87% of targets neutralized. Minimal damage to our fleet. Elena allowed herself a moment of satisfaction before focusing on the mission's true objective. Begin Phase 2. Set course for the research facility. The Indomitable broke from Jupiter's protection, accelerating toward the distant station, where intelligence indicated human prisoners were being held. 2 Vraxian cruisers moved to intercept, their weapons charging. They've adapted their shields again, warned Tactical. Kinetic penetration estimated at only 20%. Switch to shrapnel clusters, Elena commanded, and prepare for extreme maneuvers. What followed was a dance of physics and human endurance. The Indomitable accelerated to 4G, executing turns that pushed against the limits of structural integrity. The human crew, strapped into acceleration couches and supported by pressure suits, endured what would have been lethal forces for most species. The Vraxian ships couldn't match their maneuverability without killing their own crews. When the shrapnel clusters detonated against their shields, thousands of smaller projectiles overwhelmed their defenses through sheer numbers. "Target neutralized," reported Tactical as the second Vraxian cruiser went dark. "Path to research facility clear." The boarding action was swift and brutal. Alina led the strike team personally, their bodies acclimatized to the radiation still lingering in their systems. The Vraxian researchers, unprepared for direct combat with Deathworlders, fell back in disarray. They found Dr. Chen in a laboratory deep within the facility, surrounded by monitoring equipment. His body showed signs of surgical procedures, with strange metallic implants visible beneath his skin. His eyes, when they opened, held recognition, but also something alien. "Alina," he whispered as she cut him free. "You shouldn't have come." "Never leave a man behind," she replied, helping him stand. Chen gripped her arm with unexpected strength. "You don't understand. They weren't torturing me. They were studying me. Studying us. The Vraxians aren't the threat, Alina. They're afraid of us because they've seen what humans can become." "What are you talking about?" Chen's eyes reflected the harsh laboratory lights. "I've seen their records. Humanity isn't the first Deathworld species they've encountered, but we're evolving faster than any of them, at our current rate of adaptation and technological advancement." He shuddered. "They're not trying to exterminate us. They're trying to contain us before we spread." The journey back to Earth was tense and silent. Dr. Chen spent most of it in the medical bay, his body struggling with the changes the Vraxians had made. When he was finally cleared to brief the EDC War Council, Alina noticed how differently he moved, more fluid, more precise, as if perpetually calculating physics equations with each step. "The Vraxian collective isn't the aggressor in this conflict," Chen began, his voice steady despite the murmurs of disbelief from the assembled officers. "They're acting under direct orders from something called the Galactic Concilium, a coalition of 27 spacefaring civilizations." He activated a holographic display showing an intricate network of stars and planetary systems. "This is their territory. Over 6,000 years of peaceful expansion and cooperation. Peaceful until they decided to exterminate us," General Okafor interjected. Chen shook his head. "That's what I thought too, until I accessed their historical archives." He zoomed the display to a distant sector. 300 years ago, they encountered another Deathworld species called the Krivax. Like humans, they had evolved on a high-gravity, high-radiation planet with extreme temperature variations and hostile indigenous life. The display showed alien beings with dense musculature, not dissimilar to humans in their general structure. The Concilium welcomed them, shared technology, offered them membership, Chen continued. Within 50 years, the Krivax had colonized 18 systems. Within 100, they'd developed military technology that outpaced anything in the Concilium. Within 150, they'd launched a war of aggression that nearly destroyed galactic civilization. Alina felt a chill, and they think we'll follow the same path. Worse, Chen's modified eyes seemed to glow slightly in the dim light. The Krivax took thousands of years to reach industrial technology. We did it in centuries. Their rate of adaptation to new environments was remarkable by Concilium standards. Ours is exponentially faster. By their predictive models, an unchecked human expansion would result in our domination of the galaxy within 500 years. Admiral Santos leaned forward. So this attack wasn't about resources. It was preemptive containment. Exactly, Chen confirmed. The Vraxians were sent to assess, and if necessary, neutralize the threat we represent. Their orders were to quarantine our system if possible, but full sterilization was authorized if we showed too much resistance. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. They weren't facing a single alien collective. They were facing the combined might of 27 advanced civilizations who genuinely believed humanity's existence threatened the galaxy. How do we fight that? Someone finally asked. Elena studied the galactic map, the vastness of the Concilium's territory compared to their single star system. We can't, she said simply. Not directly. Not yet. Then we're doomed, General Okafor concluded. No. Chen's voice had changed, carrying strange harmonics that made Elena's skin prickle. During my captivity, I wasn't just being studied. I was studying them. Their physiology, their psychology, their technology, all of it filtered through the neural interface they attached to my brain. They underestimated how quickly a human mind could adapt to and utilize their own systems. He raised his hand, and the holographic display shifted at his mental command. They're afraid of us because we're unpredictable. Because we evolve faster, adapt quicker, think differently than they do. And they're right to be afraid. Elena watched him with growing concern. The Chen she knew was still in there, but there was something else now. Something alien and calculating. What are you suggesting? She asked quietly. Chen's gaze met hers, and for a moment, she saw a glimpse of his former self, the scientist who had once loved her. We need to talk to them. Not to surrender, but to make them understand we aren't the Kryvax. We need to meet with the Concilium directly. And if they refuse? Admiral Santos asked. Chen's expression hardened. Then we show them exactly why Deathworlders are classified as extinction-level threats. The quantum communication chamber hummed with energy, its walls lined with technology that melded human innovation with Vraxian components reverse-engineered from captured vessels. Elena stood beside Dr. Chen, watching as technicians made final adjustments to the system that would allow real-time communication across interstellar distances, a feat previously thought impossible. Are you sure about this? She asked quietly, studying Chen's face. The metallic implants beneath his skin pulsed with subtle light, mapping neural pathways that had been fundamentally altered. It's our only chance, he replied. The Concilium has already dispatched their main fleet. We have weeks, not months. Admiral Santos approached, his weathered face grave. The Security Council has approved your plan, Dr. Chen. Against my recommendation, I should add. Chen nodded. Your caution is noted, Admiral. But fighting a conventional war against 27 advanced civilizations isn't caution, it's suicide. And revealing our trump card isn't. Santos countered. Elena intervened before the argument could escalate. The chamber is ready. We should begin. The lights dimmed as the quantum field stabilized. Chen stepped into the center of the chamber, the neural augmentations in his brain interfacing directly with the communication system. His eyes closed, then snapped open, glowing with an internal light. Connection established, he announced, his voice overlaid with harmonics that made the air vibrate strangely. The Concilium representatives are responding. The chamber's walls shimmered, and suddenly they were surrounded by holographic projections of alien beings, diverse in form but united in their wary hostility. A Vraxian representative stepped forward, compound eyes reflecting fractured light. The Deathworlders request audience, it stated. This is unprecedented. Yet here we are, Elena replied, stepping forward. I am Commander Elena Reyes of Earth. We know why you fear us. We know about the Kryvax. But we are not them. A different alien spoke, its body an elegant collection of crystalline structures. All Deathworld species follow the same pattern. Your biological adaptability, your aggression, your rapid technological advancement, all indicators of catastrophic expansion potential. You're not wrong, Chen interjected. Humans are dangerous. We evolved on a world that tried to kill us at every turn. We survived ice ages, asteroid impacts, plagues, and our own self-destructive tendencies. Which is precisely why you must be contained, a third alien stated. Elena raised her hand. Before you deliver your final judgment, you should know something. She nodded to a technician, who activated a secondary display showing hundreds of small objects scattered throughout nearby star systems. These are autonomous beacons, each containing the sum total of human knowledge, history, and technology, including everything we've learned from studying your captured vessels. The Concilium representatives shifted uneasily. If Earth is destroyed, Elena continued, these beacons are programmed to seek out habitable worlds and broadcast their contents openly. Our extinction would ensure that our ideas spread faster than our ships ever could. You threaten us, the Vraxian demanded. I offer you a choice, Elena corrected. Destruction of Earth gains you nothing, but peaceful cooperation. That offers possibilities neither of us has imagined. Chen stepped forward, the alien technology in his body visibly active. I am living proof of what happens when human adaptability meets your technology. Within weeks, I integrated neural systems that took your species centuries to develop. That is precisely what we fear, the crystalline being exclaimed. It's what you should embrace, Elena countered. Imagine what we could accomplish together. Your stability and experience coupled with our adaptability and innovation. A tense silence filled the chamber. Finally, a new representative appeared, older, its features bearing the weight of millennia. For 6,000 years, the Concilium has maintained peace through isolation and control, it said slowly. Perhaps that approach has reached its limits. Hours later, as the quantum connection finally closed, Elena stood alone with Chen on the observation deck of the Thunderchild, looking out at Earth glowing blue against the blackness. Did we just save humanity or sell our souls? She asked quietly. Chen's altered eyes reflected the starlight strangely. Neither. We just ensured our place in the galaxy. He touched the implants beneath his skin. What the Concilium doesn't yet understand is that I've already begun distributing modified versions of this technology to key individuals on Earth. You what? Elena turned to him in shock. His smile was both familiar and alien. Insurance, Elena. The Concilium will honor our agreement because they must, but humanity will continue to evolve, to adapt. He looked out at the stars. They never stood a chance against us. Not really. Not because our warships are too powerful, but because we are.